Hey guys. Hey. So I wanted to jump on here and do a live stream because we're celebrating my launch of my book today. Um, so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of info on who I am. If you're new to this video or to me, my name is Kaylee. I am an author tuber, published author as of today, and I am here to give you guys some answers to questions. Hi, Timmy. Thanks so much for joining me. So I am doing this live stream to answer your questions about freelancing, and I got a couple of ahead of time, but I wanted to see if any of you wanted to ask any questions about freelancing now, specifically you, Timmy, since you're the only one here right now. Oh, yay! I'm glad it showed up. I am super excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you. I had Jordan from JM Ivy create the cover. She's fantastic. She's an amazing designer and copy editor. I'm excited to hear what you think about my book. But yeah, so the physical version has not published yet because Amazon's running a little bit slow, I guess. So that one should go up sometime today. Fingers crossed. Thank you. And the ebook version is live. There is a link down below. I'll update the links with the physical version as soon as I get it and it's published in live. But yeah, so did anybody have any questions about freelancing, Timmy? While I'm waiting on all of that and we're waiting for a little bit more people to show up, I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of the book. The title is How Not to Be Just Another Freelancer, and it's all about helping freelancers who are in the beginning stages of freelancing and all of that get better at freelancing and actually come up with a strategy and figure out how to manage the freelancing world. But it's also about approaching freelancing from a different point of view and a different mindset of, well, I'm just a freelancer. I'm just here to do a couple jobs and then move on and try and scrape and scrimp and find jobs anywhere I can, regardless of the pay, regardless of how I'm treated or anything like that. So it's changing. And hi, Melissa. Thanks so much for joining me. So it's changing your mindset and realizing that you're not just another freelancer. You're not somebody who's, scrambling on the job boards trying to get $5 jobs. You're a professional business owner. You're freelancer. You do this for a living, for your job. That's what freelancing is. You're not doing it just because it's super fun and it's wonderful and it's all that. It's a job. It's an income revenue stream. I'm glad you're here, Melissa. I'm glad you're here, Timmy. I'm glad everybody's here. So yeah, again, if you have any questions about freelancing, feel free to pop them in the chat. So I'm going to get started on the questions that were asked before over on Instagram. Again, if you have anything, pop it in the chat, or if you're rewatching the replay, it's a lot of re's. If you're watching the replay, feel free to comment down below, and I'll get to your questions as soon as I get the notification that you commented. But the first question I wanted to start with is, what exactly is freelancing? And freelancing to me is when you go out on your own and you approach another company or another business or another person and go, hey, I have a service I can offer you and I want to offer it to you on a business, contract. You sit there and you freelance your work. You're not under anybody's employment. You're able to go and freelance. You're able to go and pick and choose and do any of the work that you want because you're freelancing. And that's kind of my viewpoint with freelancing is it's freedom. You're able to be free to do what you choose and what you don't choose. So the other question is, How are you with deadlines with freelancing? And I kind of have a couple answers to that one. In terms of myself with freelancing deadlines, I'm not too bad actually. It took me a long time to get to a point where I was preparing early, making sure that I was on top of my deadlines and all of that. But what really helped was setting systems and procedures and figuring out, okay, what was the next step after this? How did I go from point A to point B to point C? How did I, make sure my client was happy? In terms of how important are deadlines with freelancing, they're incredibly important. It's one of the most important parts of the freelancing business. If you can't meet a deadline, a client can't rely on you, and they basically have no reason to work with you. Like if you can't give them what you promised, there's really no point in them hiring you. That's kind of my viewpoint with deadlines. Timmy, I was always thinking how I should price my service if I am from a poor country, but I still want clients from other countries too. So Timmy, with pricing, I have kind of a different viewpoint with pricing. And this is all of this is based on Alex and Jenny's Facebook group about freelancing called the Sixers. I reference them in my book quite often. There's a couple of links in our template center that you will get the password to in the book. But with pricing, I would really make sure that you're pricing the value of your services and what you're doing. It doesn't matter if it's from a poor country, a rich company, a medium country. I mean, if you're providing, let's say blog posts to a company and you're doing 4 blog posts a month, you don't want to be charging them $50 because the value is not there. Now, if they're 3,000 word blog posts and you're giving them 4 of them, and you have to do research, you have to do interviews, you have to do a lot of time based stuff to get this product created and ready and edited and good enough for the client to publish, obviously you need to increase your prices. Now, for me, in terms of the conversion rates, I would always stick with my own country's conversion rates, and then if they make more money or less money, that's just kind of whatever. I just stick with US because I'm based in the US, and make sure that my stuff is based on US price points. So if I have to pay the conversion, then that's fine because that's a business and that's what I do. But my value is based off of what I'm providing them, not based on the fact that they're from a rich company or not based on the fact that I'm from a rich country. I keep saying company. Words are hard. I'm sure you guys know. But when you price, it needs to be priced on, I'm actually doing a decent amount of work. At one point in time, I was charging $1,200 for 4 blog posts that were about 500 to 700 words each. And I got $1,200 for all of that. So you really want to make sure that the countries are not your devising factor. It's the value. It's not the fact that you can make more or make less off of these people because they're from a different country. It's the fact that you're providing the value that's worth what you're charging them. Does that make sense, Timmy? Melissa, I started freelancing in 2010, but it was hard to survive on Freelancer or Odesk and those places because even though I was high quality to get jobs at all, I ended up making the same as those in other countries that didn't need as high of an income. How does it compete today? Is it worth going back? Melissa, for me, those types of job boards are just difficult. It doesn't matter where you're from or what you're doing. It's just hard because you're competing with every other freelancer that wants to get a job, and they're willing to lowball you to cut prices to be as low as possible and then crank out a cheap product. And that's not what I think freelancing should be focused on. Like if you want to make this a business, if you want to make this like your sole source of income, you need to be focusing on going after the companies that bring you fire, bring you passion, bring you joy, and that you would actually enjoy working with. And you need to reach out to their CEO specifically, like individually reach out to their CEO and be like, hey, I'd love to jump on a call. Let's talk about my services. So for me, I love planners, and this is a Michael's recollection planner. So what I would do is I'd go, hey, Michael's, let's go and find that CEO and email him and be like, look, I use your stuff all the time. Your planner is literally my lifesaver. I can't survive without my planner. And I buy stickers from you with my entire paycheck. Let's see if we can work together. Again, Jenny and Alex have a kind of a template on the actual pitching email to send to them, and they've got fantastic resources on that. So I don't want to, steal their thunder or anything, but find the companies that you're in love with. So if you have a product that you can't live without, Apple, Amazon, any type of company, Office Depot, just anything that you're passionate about. And I know all of the things that I've been saying are either tech or office supplies, but I'm in love with office supplies, so I can't help that. But really take a minute to look at all of the products surrounding you and where you bought them. And if that type of company is a company that you can do work with, and then just start making lists of, hey, I love the office supply industry. Let me go and see if I can work with Staples, Office Depot, Office Max, although I think they're the same company now. Michael's, Joann's, all kinds of companies. And then, you can branch even further into the office supplies, going into the brands of the different printers or the brands of the different pens or the brands of the different papers or notebooks. So it's just finding an industry that that you love and that you can provide a good value for, and running wild with it and just being imaginative and finding companies that you like. I hope that answers your questions, Melissa. Okay, so the next question was actually, how do you find reliable clients? And I think that kind of answers it. But it's not so much about finding reliable clients as finding clients that know your value and know your worth and aren't here to pull a fast one all over you or to um, get pulled over and get as much value as they can for as less amount of money that they can pay. It's about finding clients that are focused on being a company that's there to create a relationship and create a back and forth, because these companies, they're not doing a service, they're not doing you a favor. They are creating and entering into a business transaction with you. So you provide the service, they provide the payment, and as long as both of those are on equal terms, then there should be no problem. But if one is upscaled or skewed or in any way, then there's a problem, and you need to be able to find those red flags and move forward, or say, okay, we're done because these red flags are too much, and I can't head them off, that type of thing. Okay, so the next question is, how do you build a portfolio? And this is actually one of my favorite ones. I liked building my portfolio by finding clients that I could kind of create um, test articles with. Now, these are paid test articles because you don't do anything for free, because you're a business owner, your time is money, and you need to be able to make some income. But I did like discounted test articles. So instead of paying my normal rate of $175 per blog post, they paid maybe $90 or something like that. These are all just kind of example numbers. But the point of building a portfolio is not to make a beautiful website that houses these perfect examples or anything like that, because to be honest, the last half of the last year or so, I haven't had a website at all, and I've still gained clients, worked with clients, all of that. My portfolio is still growing. And the way I started was I wrote articles on LinkedIn. So that way, if anybody needed kind of an example of my writing style, hey, here's my LinkedIn profile. I've got tons of articles that are in your industry and give you an example of what I'm able to do. And then I would find somebody who'd say, yeah, okay, I can do your LinkedIn articles. I enjoy them. Let's, see if we can get a test product going. It's like, okay, it's a test product. I'll give it to you for $90 since it's my first test product and it's my first kind of portfolio building. And then we build a relationship and then enter into retainer, and then they'd get 4 articles a month at $1,200, and go on with that. Now, later on, when I had my portfolio kind of built and I was secure in the amount of work that I had, and I was secure in my ability to showcase my value and my worth and my style, um, my test articles ended up being more than getting a retainer, because with a test article, it's kind of like an a la carte type deal where instead of getting a bunch of things in one package, you just picked out the one that you want. So that one's going to be a bit more expensive. So instead of it being $175, maybe it's like $210. Again, these are all example numbers, but that's kind of how my mentality shifted throughout my time freelancing and all of that. That's where I've been going towards is, I started out, the test articles were a little bit discounted. I built up my value, I built up my client list, I built up my portfolio. So I had samples of articles to send to people. I had my LinkedIn articles. I had this big base of foundation of my products to kind of hold myself on. And then my test articles went up in price. Um, so yeah, that's all of the questions I actually got today. I'm sorry, before this, not today. If you guys have any other questions, I'd love for you to post them. Melissa and Timmy, thank you so much for joining me. And Timmy, thank you for sharing on Twitter. I got a little alert because my phone is never far away. But yeah, How Not to Be Just Another Freelancer is on sale today. Ebook and paperback version will hopefully be today at some point. Again, Amazon's running a little slow. But I don't really have anything else for today. Oh, Timmy, if you're freelancing, do you have to work with companies? No. You don't have to work with companies. I ended up working with or is freelancing even if only you work alone? So with freelancing, there's two ways to do it. One, you could freelance on your own to the point where you're going out and finding clients, you're going out and doing all of the work and being the business owner and doing all of that. There's also another way where you could freelance and you contact marketing agencies and be like, hey, are you guys looking for a copywriter? Are you looking for a graphic designer? I'm a freelancer, here's my portfolio. So you could do either way. And in fact, I suggest that you do multiple ways at the same time. So that way, if your cold emailing, your pitching emails kind of slow down, you still have marketing work. And if your marketing work slowed down, you still have the pitching to go through. I also do suggest that you go on reputable job boards and actually find some businesses that are already looking for your freelancing service and email them and try and get them on board in terms of, hey, you guys are already looking for this service. I'm offering this service. You don't have to pay insurance for me. You don't have to pay for me to be physically there. You get a lot more value out of me for a lot less money, that type of deal, and try and convince them that way. The reputable job boards that I recommend are LinkedIn. I've heard some good things about, oh shoot, I don't even remember. I stopped looking at job boards because I had so much going on with LinkedIn and um, cold call or cold emailing. So, I mean, I would just look at a couple of them. I have not heard anything particularly good about Odesk. I've heard a couple of good things about Freelancer, but it wasn't that great. But it just find job boards that are easy. They're reputable, and people that are on them are there to look for business. Yeah, Melissa, I haven't really heard too much about either. I know there is one other big one that I just cannot remember at this point in time. That is decent, but I mean, to be able to make any real money on these job boards, you have to be able to go and spend, all of your time and be as fast as possible and get it and be able to undercut everyone. And that's not what you want to focus on. I mean, that's a very like intense, very anxiety driven way to build your business, and that's not why we're here. We don't want to be every other freelancer. We want to be our own freelancer. um so yeah, if you guys have any more questions, let me know. I think I'm about wrapping this up. We've been on here for about 20 minutes. I didn't really have too much. um but if you have any questions, give it a few more minutes. Do. So yeah, just make sure that you guys are doing the best you can. Thank you again, Timmy and Melissa, for joining me. The links to my main book are down below, as well as the link to the Facebook group with Jenny and Alex, or it will be in a few minutes. I don't know if I put that on there. Yeah, have a bright and colorful day. Keep writing. I'll see you guys all later.